So here's the deal. Last night I had a pretty fucked up dream, but one I've been thinking about all morning, and I've come to the conclusion that my subconscious has simply translated my thoughts, feelings on the VWF upcoming Royal Rumble. My dream was based around the Norse mythology and pantheon of gods who was portrayed by various members of the VWF. For example, Odin, the quote unquote Allfather, the Lord of the Gods and ruler of Asgard, was the VWF's very own Viking king. I think it says a lot for the subtlety of one's subconscious to find creative ways like this to air out one's thoughts and desires in the dream world. I mean, we are the Viking Wrestling Federation. The Vikings were, in the old days, of course, in fact, Norse. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. We of the VWF are Norse gods incarnate. Obviously, I'm shitting you, and after all, I am the only deity in the VWF because I am the goddess. The events of my dream took place with me as the goddess Hel, deciding it was time to set Ragnarok into motion on my own instead of how the fates predicted it would happen. I wanted to follow my own path and not one of predetermined foresight. I used the predicted events to keep under the radar, though, and to my advantage, while I set everything up so that in the end I am the only one left standing. I start Ragnarok, and I am the only one left at the end of it as well. Ragnarok, you must understand, is the end of the old world and the beginning of a new one. In a sense, Ragnarok is the Royal Rumble, and I will be the last one standing. I have probably the best chance of anyone after all. I have the best stamina of anyone in the VWF and can stay in a fight when all of my opponents have exceeded their limits. On top of that, I am just as dangerous on the ground as I am in the air, so attempts to keep me off the turnbuckle will help nobody except myself. I am fast, I am strong, and I am coming into this right in the middle of the group. This means that I have the advantage over anyone who comes in after me because I've already got a feel for the momentum of the match going. Sure, they're fresh and ready to fight, but their adrenaline isn't up yet, so they aren't as on the ball as they should be, and in the end, it comes down to one thing. Just as Hel was the last one standing at the end of Ragnarok, I too shall be the last one at the end of the Royal Rumble. People will sit there and you tell me, well, what about Lee Ryan? What about Dr. Feelgood? What about Ace Andrews or Bobby Ann, Bailey and Yuna? And more than anyone, what about MTK or my own partners, Scott and Jason? You want to know what I think about them? I think not a single one of them will have the advantage that I have going into this. Dr. Feelgood is old. No, he isn't washed up, but he is old. And he doesn't have that sort of stamina that it takes to run an entire Royal Rumble when he's entering in the third spot. He will probably be out of this match long before my number comes up. Yuna is too new to have any impact whatsoever on this match. She's also entering pretty early, and with as inexperienced as she isn't going to have very much of a chance to stay in unless it's on sheer luck and a complete fluke. Scott and Bailey have a better chance, on the other hand, than most of the others. They too will be entering at about the same time as me, one just before and one right after. They've got the stamina and the speed to keep up a good pace the rest of the match. But most of it is all sheer determination. I have no problem dumping Scott over the top rope if I see the opportunity to do so. I did it last year, why would I shy away from it again? Yeah, he's a friend and we have a line, but it is one mostly of convenience for both of us, and frankly, when it comes to the Royal Rumble, all gloves are off. Scott is a great wrestler, but he's had a shitty year so far. Friend or not, I won't hesitate to make it a little worse should I see the opportunity in that ring. He was portrayed as Loki in my dream, and Hal had no problem leaving him behind despite their alliance, just as I won't have that problem when this match comes up. Bailey, however, is new. She's never experienced this before, and frankly, I think given her background as a bare-knuckle boxer, never experiencing a Royal Rumble is going to be to her best advantage. She doesn't know what to expect and won't overthink things, but her lack of experience and the fact that she is so fucking tiny will make it easy for anyone, and I literally mean anyone, to come in and take her out. Bailey was portrayed as the goddess Sif in my dream, though. Thor's wife. Bailey has no problem playing things to her advantage, just as Sif did not. Sif merely wanted to see Thor eliminated, so she sided with Hel. Later on, when she was busted and close to being caught, she quickly changed her sides and teamed up with Frigg to help Thor, mostly to save her own ass. This is Very much so what I can see Bailey doing, flip-flopping sides just for her own gain. Bobby Ann has the advantage of a late number, but the disadvantage of being a fucking moron. The woman is an idiot and probably can't even find the right hole between her legs to stick a cock, let alone her way to the ring. How she's managed to last in VWF, I'll never know, and I don't understand why she's even in the Royal Rumble to begin with. But I do know that given the opportunity, I will be eliminating her before anyone else does. She's good for nothing but a fuck that'll get you STDs from what I hear, and she won't be in it very long, I'm sure. Other people of note, Ace Andrews and Lee Ryan, both have late numbers as well. Both of them actually had a pretty big part in my dream, too. Lee was a god known as Balder, a god of light and wisdom and kindness. He's what we call in the wrestling world an uberface, which is exactly what Lee is. So concerned with the fans and how people view him and what they think of him, and just making it fun, that he doesn't see the danger right before his eyes. In my dream, Balder was eliminated by Hod, who was that fucking animalistic pet of DiBiase's, Jason Lee. Whatever. The fact remains that early on in the events of Ragnarok, Balder was killed by Hod and Loki. I have no doubt in my mind that early on in his participation in the Royal Rumble, Scott and Jason will get rid of him, providing one or both are still in the ring at the time. Lee Ryan is nothing more than a goody-goody who has no talent. Yeah, he's the Eurocontinental Champion, but look at the others that have held that title. Hell, look at how he fucking got that title. It was a total fluke. I once had it. As a matter of fact, it was such a shitty title that it was merged with the Intercontinental just to get rid of it. Why the Viking King ever brought it back is beyond me. It's not really worth much. As much as I hate the Intercontinental belt, at least I'm not the Eurocontinental Champion. Lee is too nice for his own good, and he's going to be taken out early because of it. He isn't ruthless or calculating enough to last long in the ring during this most epic of matches. Ace, on the other hand, is a bit more of a problem, though not as much as one would think. In my dream, he made it all the way to the actual Battle of Ragnarok as the god Tyr, a war god. Ace has no problem doing what he's got to do to get what he wants or needs, but it's all just planning when it comes to him. He's not cold enough or cruel enough to just go ahead and do what he needs to do and fuck the consequences. He's quick, though, and he can be a fucking dick when he feels like it. So who knows? Tied in with his late entry, he might surprise me, but I highly doubt it. Another big name in this matchup is NDK. He's almost useless, but not entirely enough to write off. He's proved to be a big player at the On Hallowed Ground event, and I'm sure he's going to make himself a problem for Ramon and myself this weekend at the Experts Extreme Tournament. I wouldn't doubt it if he tried to find a way to take me out on Saturday so I couldn't wrestle on the 19th. But I know better than to not watch out for that shit, so whatever. I'll eliminate him as easily as anyone else who gets in my way at the Rumble. There was one other thing, though, that I wanted to touch on when it comes to the Royal Rumble pay-per-view and this dream that I had of mine, and that's the world title matchup. It was wildly appropriate for Mr. Fantastic to be represented as Midgard, the world serpent, in my dream. 1, he is a dirty snake, and 2, he is the world champion. Even in my dream, even though he was on my own side and he was supposed to be my brother, I wanted him dead. All of us want to see Fantastic lose his title, and none of us care who does it. Johnny said Drone was Thor, and I find it great that they were shown as such in my dream. For in the actual mythology, Thor and Midgard have a great battle, and in the end, Thor killing the great snake, but not before Midgard manages to bite him. Thor walks only 9 steps away from the fallen snake before he too falls, killed by its venom. I see this as an extreme foreshadowing on my part. I'm not exactly new to the art of divination after all, but I don't do it often enough. I'm still skilled. The way I see it, my dream is telling me and the rest of the world, now that I've broadcast it, that Cedron's going to win against Fantastic. Fantastic's going to fall before everyone's hero. Thor, after all, was the Earth's champion, and the way I see it, if Cedron can take the belt off Fantastic, he's going to be VWF's champion too, as well as that of all the fans for delivering all of us from the senseless ramblings of a self-absorbed lunatic. Here's the thing. Thor still has to fall. I predict someone coming in moments after Cedron's victory and fucking him over. The obvious choice would be the ever-traditional, last-minute, money-in-the-bank cash-in. Can we say incredible, anyone? I obviously can't guarantee this, and for all I know, something fantastic did will be the real reason Cedrone gets fucked. But whatever the reason, whatever the cause, I'm going to go with my instinct and say that it will happen. And when it does, shit is going to hit the fan, and not just for him. My prediction is for everyone. My intuition has never led me wrong before. There's no reason for me to not believe it now. So, anyway, that's it. I jumped that as a Norse god, I'd be the last one standing at the end of Ragnarok, and I'm convinced I will be the last one standing at the Royal Rumble. I see a great battle ahead of us all and a difficult road. I have a feeling that this is one event no one is going to want to miss. Thanks for watching, guys, and make sure you tune in April 19th to see me dominate the entire VWF roster.